to the Ethereal Podcast. I'm Saige.
I'm Dom.
I already introduced the Pure Ethereal Podcast. So if you've never tuned in before and you're here today, what up?
How's it going?
How are you? This week is going to be a little shorty, but it's about a good topic, I think. I guess I would describe it. I've been thinking about this topic.
Do you have a little gremlin?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a little gremlin inside your head? Most people do. I call them gremlins. Yeah, exactly. It's like very much like, is it? Oh, yeah, the movie Gremlin.
Little gremlins?
Yeah, like no, it's just called Gremlins.
Oh.
She said little gremlins. It's called Gremlins, I think.
I'm thinking of that movie. Okay.
But they're so freaking cute unless you feed them
I
after a certain time. And I feel
that
like
movie freaked me out.
really?
Yeah, I was a child when I watched it, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're scary."
I wanted Gizmo so bad.
Me too. Gizmo's adorable.
So fucking cute. But honestly, that movie is the reason why I came up with the concept of gremlins, because your little gremlins do have good purpose, but if you feed them too much, they turn into little monsters.
My gremlins have been on the forefront the last couple of days. I'm paying Saige for the last hour of therapy that she just gave me before we started filming. Because I've cried a lot today and yesterday.
And you probably not done.
No, I need to go to sleep though.
But
everything's telling me to just after therapy. I have my first therapy session today. I've never done therapy, guys. Doing it on BetterHelp, so I'll let y'all know how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody's seen a lot of advertisements for it.
Yeah, I've seen so many.
Yeah. Anyways, we got off topic.
Oh yeah, not sponsored, but if you want to, BetterHelp. On brand. Anyways, on topic of gremlins, if you are confused what the fuck I am talking about, an example that I've dealt with a lot, or for instance, and when we were talking about, is codependency gremlin, right? You know, it's that little piece, you get really codependent on someone, and then when they're not there, that codependent side freaks out. It's like it doesn't know how to fucking operate without that person there. I've always struggled with codependency. It just hit itself with friendships for me growing up, because I didn't date, so I didn't ever get attached to partners. I would get attached to my friend, and so that's why I would have one friend at a time. Yeah, I think definitely early manifestations of codependency.
Jesus. It's that anxious avoidant childhood.
Yeah, 100%. And so you kind of get really like, whoa. And so we were talking about it, obviously, about how you can't, I don't think that you get rid of your gremlins. I think that once a gremlin is there, it's not that it's going to go away, but it's that you learn and understand the gremlin so that you can use the gremlin for the best of its abilities. Like you're talking about the codependent one. If you break down codependency and look at it in a positive light, what could be the positive side of codependency? You're very, very loyal, dedicated, passionate. There's a lot of great qualities if you were to look at the positive side of it. And so those things do exist. And if you can be codependent on a person, you can be codependent on yourself, but also you can be codependent on the things around you. You could be that passionate. You can be that passionate and loyal to this person. You can be that compassionate and loyal and dedicated to yourself or anything that you're doing, because you've already.
That's
like,
what I thought of earlier.
Exactly.
I was like, look, let me just like be more dedicated to jiu-jitsu, get codependent with jiu-jitsu. I need that.
Yeah, it's like it gives yourself constant. Like
that's a healthy thing.
Yeah, I'm like, there are tons of things you can do. It's like it's what reminds you that you are passionate, you are dedicated and loyal with something or someone. So there is a good side to like a codependency gremlin. You know, if you don't overfeed them with a thing, that they don't turn into a little monster. So they're just someone that's like really caring and passionate and really will do anything for this person, and really, you know, cares about it. So it could be a very good thing. So that's something. Like there are tons of little gremlins other than codependency. If you don't have codependency problems, that's cool for you. I don't know how.
I have an anger gremlin.
Yeah, I was like, there's definitely anger gremlins. There's anxiety gremlins.
Those are rough.
Yeah, on like
separation anxiety gremlin.
For sure. Any of those little gremlins that is up there. I've been like, I was thinking the other day when I was thinking about like my codependency gremlin, and I was thinking about what the positive could be with it. And I was like, what other gremlins do I have, or like things that basically things I've struggled with at some point in my life, and I've healed from, or I'm working through, whatever. And so one of them that I thought about was like, I seen this TikTok where they had said, they don't currently have any type of like eating disorder, but that it's not that it ever, like, it feels like they're always in remission, like, or like whatever, like recovery, I mean, because it doesn't feel like it ever goes away. And it's just, I totally agree. I've been like, I haven't had like that issue for a long time. It's not, those thoughts still come up. But the positive with them is that I now look at it differently. I have a speak to it. It's like, if I'm worrying about, am I eating too much, I rationally think through, how much have I eaten? Am I eating healthy? This is keeping me from binge eating a lot. But also, if I haven't and I am overstressing, I go, no, because you are 5'7", you're 200 pounds, you're an adult woman. This is what you've had today. You haven't overeaten. You still have to, you are totally fine. Like, we're being healthy right now. And just those little things, or it's like, it could be healthier. Yes, replacing that thought from something that's anxiety based to something that's now causing you to try to be healthier. So like something that once took you down can start to kind of build you up. But it's like learning how to navigate and communicate and take care of that little gremlin, because if you try to pretend that it just goes away forever and you never deal with it again, if you really do, that's amazing for you. Every time I thought it was really gone, whatever the gremlin was, I realized it was still there. It just wasn't giving me active problems. It wasn't in monster mode or whatever.
Are these gremlins formed through trauma?
I think,
or do you think some of them are just naturally?
You know what? I think that it could be both, because I feel like there are some gremlins you were born with that's like a part of your soul learning something.
Generational curses.
Yeah,
too.
like I definitely feel like, let's say like in your last life, you do whatever, and you were very, very like angry, if you believe in that stuff, right? I believe in this life you could have started out with anger problems because that was a problem that you didn't beat. Like the last time that really overran you. So like if you believe in reincarnation, that could be something you start into. So if the reincarnation is valid and the concept of paying off your soul's karma is valid, then that would have to be valid, that it can definitely be you were born with it. I definitely think that, because it's like the same concept as genetics, like if you can genetically be like, have like anxiety, why, it's the same thing.
Your whole family, all the women got it.
So many people have anxiety, man.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's just like,
but
how you navigate, I guess. Because like I said, I think that I don't know if I've said it before on podcasts, I probably have, because I say it a lot, but anything that can be viewed as a negative or a disability or a disorder or whatever, I believe is like a super like trait that's just undiscovered, because yin yang. So I believe that if it's that bad, imagine what the really good side of it is, and you have to find that.
right.
If you believe in the yin yang, exactly, and if you believe in yin yang, you believe in the duality, that means you believe that the energy has to directly correlate. So if it's that bad and that strong of energy, then there's a really good energy that's somewhere. You just got to find it, whether it takes time, depending on what the situation is, whether it's just looking at like changing your perspective of what you're looking at, or how you're communicating, how you're dealing with things. I believe that it can very much just like, you just have to look for it and take time and be patient with yourself. That's the fun one.
Are you talking directly to me?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
Patience is rough.
I feel like I have been needing to learn patience for years, like my whole life. And very recently has the universe been putting me in situations where I'm exposure therapy, like literally forced to.
I feel like the universe is like an energy that like like water, right? Like waves things to you. And if you don't jump the wave yourself, eventually the wave goes, fuck. like you either take the bait and do it yourself, or the universe is gonna just take you with it. So it's like, whether you want to heal or not, it will come for you in your time. You can either choose to try to like speed it up if you really want, or you can wait till it happens. It will happen. So I believe that's a part of the journey. Like in this life, in the mental realm, I believe it's about healing. So I just feel like, it happens. Sometimes it just takes you like a big ass wave.
When you resist it long enough, it definitely will
smack the shit out of
you.
Holy shit.
And Yeah, I guess I've been resisting. You can consciously resist, and you can subconsciously resist.
For sure. Because sometimes what's resisting is a subconscious belief or thought pattern that you haven't discovered and broken down yet. Like sometimes the thing that is holding you back, you don't realize until you go, well, why? And that's why it's like you're not always going to know the answer to why. You don't always have to know, but why I like the term why is because it encourages you to look further. And so when you ask why to your brain, especially to a thought, you start to realize your brain goes, I don't know. And you go, but why? And your brain goes, shit, I guess I have to find an answer. So it starts looking. And that's the only way and that I've
I
found
need to
that
get in the
works.
habit of asking why, because I think that can be very beneficial for me.
Because your brain, the
my brain is
second you ask for something, they apparently like I don't know the exact like medical like the or science like second wise, but it's like the second you ask your brain a question, it starts to look for the answer.
Right.
And so saying why, even if you don't get the answer right then and there, your brain's going to start trying to figure out, well, why? Why did we say that? Like, why did we think that?
Right.
And so it eventually.
So it's basically like there's like a guy who's typing on the computer all of your thoughts throughout the day, like just like filtered, whatever. And like all of a sudden you ask why, and he's like
Control F.
He's like, oh shit.
Literally.
Like, whoa, I didn't know you was listening to me.
Sometimes I'm like, whoa, why did you think that? And then I'll go, well, maybe it was because this happened. I go, well, what happened exactly then? And I feel like the little dude's like, Control F, December 18th, 2010. Enter.
I took a snapshot of this
just
moment,
like finding
this
where it
situation.
is. It's
Because
like
that's what that is. It's a snapshot of the mix of feelings and emotions that you experienced that was too intense or just intense and too much for your brain. Basically.
Yeah, because how much you can handle emotionally, energetically, whatever, it varies moment to moment, not hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month. It's moment to moment. So this moment, I might be super receptive, able to handle a lot, but 5 minutes from now, I won't be able to. It just very much varies. You have to take it moment to moment and comfortably navigate. You have to learn how to navigate being uncomfortable, but you have to understand and learn when you start to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh, that part.
Yeah. But once you start it, then you realize that pleasure, like uncomfortability and comfortability, is on the same spectrum. So if uncomfortability is right here and comfortability is right here, and you're stopping right here because you don't want to feel any bit of uncomfortability, you start to realize that there's a safe zone of uncomfortability, and that's where a lot of magical things happen. And so it's learning how far can you go, because a lot of people's tolerance is only about halfway down the spectrum. And so as you learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, you start to have a tolerance to go more uncomfortable, and usually the more uncomfortable you get in a lot of situations, like you can feel if it's intuitively bad most of the time, but a lot of like the uncomfortability with like sitting with feeling, like admitting the wrong things you do makes you really uncomfortable because you feel bad about yourself, like if you just shit, whatever the fuck. It's uncomfortable, but the second you accept these parts of you and things you have done, it and actually accept what it is and acknowledge what you did and what you said or whatever, you can then subconsciously start rewriting how you behave.
Right.
Because you've acknowledged what it is. And so that's why it's like the uncomfortability brings a lot of great change. Change is uncomfortable, but change is the best thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if things
you
never
don't
changed.
want to stay complacent and stay in the same cycle your entire life. That would be boring.
Imagine if you had to do the same thing all day long, every single day.
God, that's what a lot of our parents do.
Literally, I was like, no, you can't.
And
you really
grandparents, it's generations before. So we really are cycle breakers, and I'm tired of being a cycle breaker. It's exhausting. All of you cycle breakers out there, we're proud of you. We feel you. We relate to you.
Yeah, definitely can get overwhelming at times, but it's one of those things where it does get really annoying and frustrating when you're like breaking something. You're like, I shouldn't have to break this cycle or da da da. And you just go, I shouldn't have to. However, I'm here and I'm gonna navigate this because I love myself and I love my experience enough to make it better. And then it gets easier the more you're doing that. It's really like the push off is always the hardest.
I think I was entering the push off today.
Jump off a cliff.
I've learned a lot today, and now I have just.
That's fair.
Moving forward, need to implement a lot of the things we've talked about on this episode. And yeah, gotta mature those gremlins.
Yeah,
get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Because it's also just like understanding, you know, if you understand, like we were talking about, like social and like not social separation anxiety. I was saying like a lot of times separation anxiety is because that gremlin doesn't believe that that person will come back, whether it's because they personally did anything or just because it's a pattern that's repeated in your life. That was my thing. The pattern kept repeating where people would be in my life for like a year or 2 years, 3 years, and they disappear. So that separation anxiety would be scared that if I wasn't around them, that might be the last time I ever saw them. When I understood that that's what I was feeling, I could sit and go, I understand that you feel that way, and that's something that's happened in the past, and I'm so sorry. But let's give them a different chance. Let's see what happens because it's not the same. It's at the same time then, and it gets easier the more you remind yourself of that because once you understand it, that little gremlin feels like seen because the gremlin isn't trying to be seen and comforted by anyone but you. It's in your mind for a reason. It's not in reality. It wants you to see it. So like when it's like, yes, these other like the situations around you can help it disappear.
It's almost like your inner child.
100%. It's like your inner child wants to be seen and wants to be understood by you.
4-year-old you who's throwing a tantrum.
4-year-old you doesn't give a shit if Jessica down the street understands you, but if you don't, the one taking care of it.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing is like learning empathy and understanding for yourself, which can be really uncomfortable because a lot of the times you go, well, why do I think this way? Why do I feel this way? It's going to be an uncomfortable reason. Something sad or mean or whatever happened or was said or whatever. And so it's not going to be pleasant to figure out why do I feel this way?
Shadow word.
Literally. But once you figure it out, it starts to be easier to navigate. Because right now you're still navigating it. You're just blindly navigating it.
Right.
Why not get some knowledge so you know what the fuck you're trying to navigate? Instead of just going into the field with the sword and going, I'm gonna hope for the best. You can at least know what am I up against? Like, am I prepared a little bit? As long as you know.
They have a gun and I'm bringing a sword?
Exactly. It's like, what's going on? Sword, like, what do I have going on? Like, as long as you know it, it's incredibly less scary to go up against it because just you're like one step ahead.
That's the only way to combat fear is through knowledge. You know about it. You're not gonna be as scared.
100%, because it still might be scary, but it's a lot less scary than going into it blind. To tell you that. Talking about going into shit blind. No.
Ain't about to do it.
Especially with that kind of stuff. Like I would much rather, like now I know, because obviously I'm someone who has dealt with a lot of my brain forgetting things and thinking that would make things better. And I definitely say now, knowing what I know, I wish I would have came into this life understanding that, because it is a lot easier to navigate if you actually know what the fuck is going on and what happened. And why you behave the way you behave, instead of just going, I don't know, I've been this way since fifth grade. I don't know, I've been this way since I was about 16.
That's been me for 25 years of my damn life.
It's like, I don't know, that's just how I've been. That's just who I've been. I've been the
now like, I'm questioning everything and understanding things and like realizing what leads to what, why I am the way I am, and act like the way that I do. And it's honestly, it's a lot.
Oh, for sure.
I want to go to sleep.
That's fair.
Like everything inside of me is just like, yo, dude, you have so much to fix. Can you just go take a little stress nap?
I mean,
but we're gonna push through.
It's all a journey, and that's the thing to remember. We're all on a healing journey. I ultimately believe, like as a soul, it's a healing journey. However, it's not nonstop healing. There should be breaks. Don't get obsessed with healing and only like try to be on constant healing. Remember to give yourself breaks, and remember that if this is a healing journey, this life is a healing journey, why do you think you're going to be fully healed tomorrow? You're always going to be learning. You're always going to be healing. It's just about learning how to navigate the triggers that come up and the things that happen around you, learning how to navigate them better. Because that's really all you can do. It's never going to be like, oh my God, I did all the work. I'm perfect. There's nothing to heal from. I have no bad qualities. I have nothing to work on.
If you get to that point, you should be scared.
If you get to that point, understand that you're not at that point. If you think you're at that point, you're in a spiritual ego, because we're human and humans aren't perfect.
We're constantly learning.
Like we're meant to be fluctuating.
It should be.
It's energy. Energy should be constantly moving.
Energy flows. Be like water.
Literally, like Yale said, be like water. Like you really do. You have to remind yourself that even in your own journey, like sometimes you're a better person than other times. Sometimes you're like, why did I say that? Why did I act like that? Why was I being mean? Whatever. Because it's an up and down journey. Healing isn't linear. Might be. I don't know who the fuck has a linear journey their whole life. I don't believe that. It's not linear. You go through ups and downs because you have to, there's so many things to factor. Your system, the life you're in is so much more complicated and complex than people give it credit for. I mean, we're in 2022 now. We've had doctors and scientists for how long now in our written history that isn't even our whole of our history, and we still don't understand the brain. We still don't understand the full body. Why? Because it's a very complex system. So at the end of the day, don't forget that you are a complex system. So you being here right now shows that you're working, like you're doing something. You're not just sitting. It's not like you just wake up and you're like, I ain't doing shit. Like you're doing things even when you don't know you're doing things consciously, because it's such a complex system.
It really is. It's programmed, so it runs subconsciously whether you
got that code just
so you can't stop it, so you might as well learn about it, learn how to help it.
If you learn the code, you learn how to communicate with the code
and rewire the code so that you can fit it to your liking and become the best version of yourself, the most aligned.
Exactly, because all you can really do
that's what we're all striving for, or should be at least, is to just become the best version of ourselves. Like that's all we're aiming for, really, to help raise the collective.
Let's try to be an overall higher. This is so off topic, but I have to say this. Did you know that the Earth is spinning faster?
No.
Our days are shorter. That's fascinating.
How are they shorter?
Okay, so the Earth has been, I'm pretty sure it said that up until like 2020, everything, I mean,
that would make a lot of sense.
Everything that since like 2020, like up to like then, I'm pretty sure it said like we've been pretty much like kind of slowing down, so our days were longer than they were thousands and thousands of years ago. But then apparently since 2020, it's been slowly speeding up. But 2022 is the fastest so far. And so like our days are shorter, like because it's by
so is that why it has felt like it's been a shorter amount of time?
Right. Because the Earth is speeding up. So like even like isn't that crazy? Wild. Yeah. There was a point where there was 28 hours in a day.
Must be nice.
It must be nice.
I don't know, man. Time doesn't exist, so that's just like wild to me. But I can feel the difference.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, and I was like,
it does make sense because like time passed by a lot quicker since 2020.
Literally, and since I'm pretty sure I said since 2020, they've noticed that it's been like slowly speeding up. But they said I think it was like June something in 2022 was like the fastest day and recorded like in like decades.
How do they even like record that and know?
It's like about like how it's because that's okay. So you know how we did science to figure out that there was 24 hours in a day? So the reason why we say 24 hours is because of how many seconds. So the same technology we use to figure out that there's 24 hours is what tells us that it's moving faster, because 24 hours is happening before it should.
Right. Okay. Is it just...
I think it's like satellites and shit now. Right. I'm sure it's like super... Well, that's the alarm letting me know that it was 10 minutes till.
Yep. Got therapy in 10 minutes. Wish me luck, Diane. Well, okay. Progress. Growth.
Yeah, 100%. Woohoo. Well, I guess on that note, we should close it out.
Yeah, you threw that interesting little
I threw that little fun fact about the Earth. Yeah, literally just.
I love that.
It blew my mind when I saw it. I said, what?
Yeah,
I had to look it up.
Wild.
I didn't believe the TikTok. That's the thing. Every time I see a TikTok, if I'm referencing a TikTok, I'll usually tell you most of the time, if I see one with like a fact like that, I go and research it before I spread it. Unless I say I haven't researched it yet. Mm-hmm. Because I always want to look. So I'm like, some people be saying some shit, y'all. Don't believe everything blindly on TikTok. Like, do a little bit of research for yourself. Because like sometimes you be finding out something, you're like, no way. And then I look it up and I'm like, I convinced myself of your lie 20 minutes ago, and I just figured out I was right to begin with. So make sure you do your research. But yeah, that is actually 100% true. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
So hope you have a good week.
Joining us.
Hope something helped or resonated. We'll be back next week.
Good luck with the gremlins, guys.
Literally, remember, don't feed them too much. Definitely don't feed them too late at night.
That part.
Keep that in mind. And remember, even when they're little gremlin monsters, they are still little cute gizmos before they eat. Remember to nurture them.
Nurture the cute gizmo and talk to it like it is the cute gizmo.
Yeah, because
it is. It's just
in monster mode.
Much food and in monster mode. So
yeah, you ever get hangry? Like,
yep.
We'll see y'all next time.
Later.